When opposing relationship models meet, tension arises. Relationship anarchy, built entirely on fluidity, crashes against traditional structure, which relies on rigid stability and defined expectations. These two approaches clash because their baseline values are opposites. Relationship anarchy rejects default scripts and predefined roles. Commitment is a voluntary choice made day by day. Traditional structures, meanwhile, thrive on clarity. They use established social scripts, where commitment means an agreed-upon obligation to specific roles. Bridging this gap requires strict psychological ground rules. Both partners have to drop any hidden agendas to convert the other. The traditional partner cannot secretly try to stabilize the anarchist, and the anarchist cannot try to deconstruct the traditional partner. Neither model is morally superior, and holding on to that belief will cause the connection to fail. To make this work, you have to replace chaotic assumptions with explicit agreements. You do this by drafting a custom relationship constitution. This is a deliberate process where you define exactly what commitment, expectations, and flexibility mean for your specific partnership. Compatibility between these two models never happens by default. It is a consciously engineered construction. You have to prioritize the meaning you create together over the ideology of either framework. Step 1 of drafting your constitution requires throwing out the default rules. The traditional model usually operates on the question, why wouldn't we do this? Assuming standard milestones like moving in together are a given. To align with a relationship anarchist, you have to switch the question to, why should we do this? Every structural choice must be justified. Let's look at this split-screen document defining commitment. The traditional partner needs predictability and priority as a primary partner. The RA partner rejects automatic hierarchy and restrictive labels. The alignment? Prioritize each other emotionally and logistically, providing time and support without enforcing rigid labels. By defining priority through actionable behaviors rather than labels, both partners get their core needs met. The traditional partner feels secure and valued, while the RA partner maintains their autonomy and avoids restrictive categorization. The next step is separating structure from control. In this context, structure means mutually chosen agreements, while control refers to imposed expectations. A common friction point that tests this distinction is the expectation of a weekly date night. From the traditional perspective, a recurring date night is a necessary, predictable obligation. It provides the stability required to maintain the connection. The RA partner often resists this. Because the date night is framed as a mandatory rule, it feels like a restriction of their personal autonomy. The solution is a deliberate reframing in your constitution. You write a clause stating you commit to the weekly date strictly because you value the connection, not because it's a mandated rule. Reframing structural habits as active choices eliminates the feeling of being trapped for the RA partner while preserving the relational stability the traditional partner requires. Now we have to address the most difficult alignment challenge. These two models operate on entirely incompatible definitions of relationship security. The traditional framework views security through the lens of predictability and exclusivity. The RA framework finds security in freedom, choice, and non-possessiveness. To align these, you need a bridge concept, redefining security not as restricted freedom, but as consistency of care. This bridge concept completely changes how you handle exclusivity. Whether you choose monogamy or openness, it must be an intentional agreement. Establish explicit disclosure rules, set emotional boundaries, and safety agreements, so exclusivity becomes an active choice, never an assumed given. You apply this same logic to public labeling. The traditional partner often needs labels like boyfriend or girlfriend, which the RA partner usually resists. The compromise is to use a standard label like partner socially, while keeping your internal definitions entirely private. If you fail to communicate these definitions clearly, you risk an emotional labor imbalance. The traditional partner will seek reassurance and clarity, while the RA partner feels pressured and constrained. In the end, one person becomes a heavy anchor, and the other becomes a drifter trying to pull away. True security in a custom relationship doesn't come from building walls around the partnership. It comes from explicit agreements and transparent, high-frequency communication. Once your relationship constitution is drafted, you have a tangible, living alternative to societal defaults. You know exactly what is expected, what is optional, and what commitment means for you. But drafting the rules is only the first step. To determine if this custom framework will survive real-world application, you have to run it through a final compatibility test. First, ask yourselves, can both partners negotiate these terms without trying to win or convert the other to their preferred model? Next, examine your tolerance for discomfort. Can the traditional partner accept a certain level of ambiguity without feeling unsafe? And can the RA partner accept a defined structure without feeling trapped? Finally, you have to look at your daily habits. Can both individuals consistently co-create their connection instead of defaulting back to rigid societal expectations when things get stressful? If the answer to these questions is yes, you have a viable alignment. A successful partnership between these opposing values is neither predefined nor chaotic. It is a continuously and consciously designed state.